You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our 6th Q&A. I know some of you are like, how did you get up to the 6th one? Well, months ago, when I was doing videos one at a time here and there, I had done prior Q&A. So this is the 6th one technically, but it's the second most recent. And these are going to be addressing questions that were in yesterday's Q&A, and we'll get right to it. So the first one is from Joe Pye. Do you think they will make these movies rated R considering the fact they don't make billions of dollars, so they won't lose money from an R rating? It might actually help them. Plus, Kong Skull Island was almost rated R. Yeah, actually, it's pretty interesting. That's one thing I did notice when I saw Kong Skull Island. I was like, wow, this is fairly violent. Like when those birds scooped up that guy and you see him hanging in the air and then that bird like cuts right through his arm. And yeah, there was some pretty violent parts. I was like, whoa. But overall, no, I do not. I think at this point it's too late to go rated R because first of all, every movie that you do as a trilogy or a sequel, whatever, your market share, your market research will tell you that the movie will financially improve upon the first one. 9 times out of 10, that's correct research. Like, you know, it doesn't always happen. There are obviously failures in movies that don't do well financially. But for the most part, financially, sequels most of the time do better. So most of that improvement is going to be not only the hardcore fans, but returning new fans. And a lot of those returning new fans are kids. Kids that went out and bought the Godzilla toys and stuff like that. So to make it rated R now would actually hurt it. So I'm with you. I would love to see an R-rated Godzilla movie. But I don't think we'll ever get one. Not anytime soon. Not in this universe, that's for sure. So, yeah. No rated R, man. But I feel you, Joe. I want one too, man. From Captain Bogrol, if Legendary were to tie Pacific Rim in, would they take the opportunity to use Jet Jaguar? I think it would be the only opportunity to use Jet Jaguar, and I would dare to say that they might actually do it. If they were to do it, I think they would actually. First of all, considering how heavily Pacific Rim is catering to the Asian market and the Asian, you know, it's being filmed in China and all this and all that. I think it would be the best time to take advantage of throwing Jet Jaguar into the mix. Because number one, you don't actually have to redesign it that much. You know, you just make him a little bit bulkier, but you can give him the same face, almost identical. It would take some, and I know this sounds crazy because I'm always the one saying, oh, well, this one worked, that one worked. Jet Jaguar would actually work perfectly in Pacific Rim. So yes, if they tied in the MonsterVerse using Pacific Rim Godzilla, which I still think is 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other, I do think you might see a Jet Jaguar. I don't know if they'll use that exact name because Jaeger, Jet Jaeger. They might actually play with the words a little bit and call them Jet or Jaeger, Jet Jaeger. But you'll see it'll have the same look. It might even have the same color scheme. The Jaegers from Pacific Rim are fairly animated in terms of their color. So for it to be silver, blue, and orange, I believe his colors were, is not, I mean, you could even argue that Gypsy Danger is, you know, the center core is orange because it's a nuclear core, but the paint is blue. So all you're doing is using that same paint, making it primarily silver, and then throwing in some orange, orange accents to the color. And then you got yourself a Jet Jaguar. So, yeah, if they did it, it wouldn't surprise me if they got that in there. It wouldn't even surprise me if Toho would push them to do it. Because it'd be the best opportunity they could have. Because there's really no other way you could bring Jet Jaguar in without Pacific Rim, in my opinion. There really isn't. And I know some people will argue, well, you know, then you could do that with Mechagodzilla. Not yet. No. If you did Mechagodzilla in Pacific Rim, again, that would have to be the best opportunity to use a Mechagodzilla. But you're going to be looking at some considerable redesign because you can't make him look just like Godzilla in a robot form. You just can't do it. So what is the most important aspect of that legendary should change upon the sequel so that it can make more money? No cock blocking. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't like the fact that Gareth Edwards did a lot of cutting, specifically the airport scene. And I completely understand that. Even myself, I would have loved to have seen that airport fight. I laughed when he did it because at that point I was like, okay, you're going too far now. As long as they don't do that, I think they'll make people happy. More action. The action in the first Godzilla movie was great, but it was few and far between. I think we're going to get more action, though. I mean, even Max Bornstein quoted saying that it's going to be much bigger, much more action-packed. So I'm not too concerned about that. I think it's going to make more money just in the fact that you're going to have returning hardcore fans, you're going to have returning new fans, you're going to have new monsters. You're going to have... Look, even the Toho purists who hated Godzilla 214 and think nothing smells better than Toho Godzilla are going to go see it just so they can see what Legendary does with their other beloved Toho monsters, so that way they can come back on the internet and cry and bitch about it. So, but at the end of the day, that money counts. So that's fine. So it's going to make more money. It's certainly going to make more money. How much more? I'm not sure. But I think it'll make more. It'll definitely make a bundle overseas. It'll definitely make a bundle in Japan because there are a lot of Mothra fans in Japan. You know, they're going to be very interested to see the United States take on Mothra. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to entertain this question because it's really funny. Jose Rico Taco Nacho Quesadilla Mandia Jones. Yes, that's his name. We all know that you think about the female MUTO's sexy ass, but what did you think about Kong's fully exposed sexy hairy ass? Obviously you're not gay, but as an ass in general, or in a female perspective, so what did I think about Kong's ass? Hey, look, if it was a female with no hair, perfect ass, perfect formation, nice muscle, good form, clearly works out. I think Kong is in good shape to bag all the ladies at the gym when he's on the treadmill or whatever. So yeah. That's funny. That name is a mouthful. I'm actually surprised I got it the first try. So here we go. So Spooky Bones 223. Do you think they can bring in a Kamacuras, the giant praying mantis? Yeah. You know, I'm surprised we didn't see something similar to that. Well, we kind of did, I guess, in Kong Skull Island, the walking stick, the big walking stick. But you know, I don't know if we'd ever see it, but if they could, I mean, they wouldn't even need Toho's permission really to throw in a large praying mantis, so long as they didn't call it Kamacuras. But I mean, they threw in a large spider. They called it Mommy Longlegs, and you know, there were people out there, it was Kamanga, it was Kamanga. I mean, it wasn't, but you know, people want to interpret it the way they want to interpret it, and that's fine. And there could be a similar case to that. So, okay, so this one comes from S. Smith. How do you believe the world would react to a real Godzilla / Kaiju attack? And then you had another question, not related. How do you feel about For Honors dropping players? For the first question, how do I believe the world would react to a real kaiju attack? No different than they would react to any other disaster. You know, fear, panic, you know, survival for the fittest. You know, when you're talking about entertaining the idea, when you talk about a big giant monster attack, it's going to be exclusive to one area. So let's say if the attack takes place let's just say Japan. There would be people here scared shitless, but there wouldn't be any looting or hoarding or anything because it wouldn't be taking place on our continent, I should say. But I think it would, if it's the kind of kaiju that you can't kill with the military, then I think we'd have some problems. You know, if you're talking about a big monster that's roaming around, it doesn't matter how slow it moves, doesn't matter how long it takes to get from one city to another. If you can't stop it, then you're on a time clock. And your only hope is to get out of its way when it arrives, hope that it doesn't do too much damage, and then hope that one day it just decides to leave. So, but I'm sure that's something we have to worry about. So this one, let me scroll down here. Hold on. All right, this one comes from Alucard Ferner, and we'll probably do one more after this. How exactly do you think that Kong will meet Godzilla? Will Kong come to Godzilla? Will Godzilla come to Kong? I don't think they'll come to each other. I don't think they're going to know each other exists, and I think they're going to stumble upon each other. The question is where, you know? Is Godzilla going to just happen to swim by Skull Island and decide he wants to stop to take a piss? And then Kong's like, this is my territory, get off my island. Or are they going to do something where Kong... I don't see Kong leaving Skull Island right now. At all, for that matter. I don't see... And I can't see him being captured like he has been in the prior movies. Not at his size now. Not with the way he moves. Not with his agility and the fact that he's still growing. I can't see him being forcefully taken away from his island. So they're going to have to come up with a very good reason as to why he leaves. Because I don't think they're going to want that fight to take place on an island. People are going to want to see buildings topple over and stuff like that. So I think technically, if you want to argue, he's going to come to Godzilla's turf, which would be a city. And he's going to have a purpose for it. Maybe there is, you know, these monsters have all been referred to as MUTO. We now know that that's the designation for them when they don't have an official name. So maybe they all share, you remember the Godzilla 2014 movie, they communicated to MUTO. Godzilla was able to pick up on that communication and run them down. Maybe there's this sort of universal monster communication that these monsters have that we know nothing about. And as you said, or as I was thinking, I should say, is he somehow intercepts a Godzilla communication, for lack of a better term, and he goes to look for him. That's my guess, but it's a good question. I have no idea, to be honest. I have no direct answer other than that. So, and we'll do one more here. Question: do you think Legendary will make more original monsters like the MUTO and Skullcrawlers to face? This comes from, by the way, Joe Tanova. I think I got that right. Do you think Legendary will make original monsters like the MUTO and Skullcrawlers to face off against Godzilla, Kong, etc. in future movies? I do think they'll make some one-off monsters that they'll just use as cannon fodder. Monsters that Godzilla just kind of runs into and pounds on real quick, or Kong runs it. I mean, they kind of done that already. A lot of the monsters on Skull Island were original. You know, the large bull. Obviously, Kong didn't fight it. He helped one. But yeah, I think we'll see more of that. We might even see more of it on Skull Island. I don't think we've seen the last of Skull Island. One argument I made a couple of years back when we first started talking about the idea of Kong versus Godzilla before they even announced it. I remember people used to think I was nuts for saying that, and sure enough, boom, it happened. But one of the things I used to argue was that you could make Skull Island indirectly Monster Island. As of right now in this universe, it's the only island they know of that was at the time uncharted, not discovered, not explored. Now they've been there. Now we've seen there are monsters there. So it could be, and we didn't explore the whole island. There's plenty more island to explore. So yeah. I think you will see more one-off monsters. You might see more MUTO type monsters surface that will probably just serve as cannon fodder. They won't have any significant developmental story. They'll be the kind of monsters that you can afford to put in there after you further explain the story of these monsters starting to rise up from the ashes after so many million years. So, but anyway, guys, that's it for this Q&A. You guys know the deal. If you want to ask more questions, you can leave them in the comments below. If I did not get to your question on the last video, don't despair. I will get to it. I will continue to take questions from that particular video and use questions for this video in a future video, if that all makes sense, I hope. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. You can follow E.T.N on Facebook, Twitch or Twitter, or join the Nation Facebook page. Don't forget to click that subscribe button on your way out.